Godzilla's greatest roar, the sound of doom, asterisk. Dramatic drone footage of a bustling city at dusk. Dark clouds roll in overhead. Quick cuts of people on the streets looking up in fear. The ground shakes, windows rattle. Hey everyone, ever had that moment in a movie where a sound just gives you goosebumps? Well, today we're diving into one of the most iconic sounds in cinema history. Imagine this. The skies darken, the earth trembles, and then that roar echoes through the air. Chills, right? Stick around as we explore Godzilla's greatest roar, the sound of doom that's been captivating audiences for decades. Let's get into it. The origins of Godzilla. Alright, let's rewind the clock back to 1954. Post-World War II Japan was grappling with the aftermath of nuclear devastation. The fear of radiation and its unknown consequences was very real. Enter Godzilla, or Gojira, as originally named, a monster born from the depths of the ocean, awakened and mutated by nuclear radiation. He wasn't just a creature, he was a symbol of destruction and a metaphor for the horrors of nuclear war. When the first Gojira film hit the screens, filmmakers needed a roar that was as colossal and terrifying as the monster itself. They wanted something that would resonate with audiences, both literally and emotionally. And boy, did they deliver, crafting the iconic roar. So, how did they come up with that spine-chilling roar? Meet Akira Ifukube, the genius composer and sound designer behind Godzilla's voice. He and his team faced the challenge of creating a sound that no one had ever heard before, a roar that belonged to a creature unlike any on Earth. Forget using animal sounds, that was too ordinary. Instead, they got super creative. They took a leather glove, coated it in pine tar resin, and rubbed it against the strings of a contrabass. The result? That deep, echoing roar that feels like it's coming from the depths of the ocean itself. Let's break it down. It's got those low-frequency rumbles that shake you to your core, mixed with higher-pitched screeches that mimic the sound of metal twisting. It's raw, it's powerful, and it's totally unique. Evolution of the roar over the decades. Now, Godzilla's been around for a while, over 60 years. And just like any long-running character, he's had some updates. In the early films, the roar had that classic, organic feel. But as technology advanced, so did sound design. By the time we hit the 1984 revival, The Return of Godzilla, the roar got a bit of a makeover, deeper, more menacing, with added layers to make it even more terrifying. The Millennium series in the 2000s? They amped it up even further. Each film experimented a bit, tweaking the roar to match the tone of the movie. Then came the Hollywood adaptations in 2014 and 2019. With access to cutting-edge tech, sound designers blended the classic elements we all love with modern sound engineering. The result was a roar that paid homage to the original but was grander and more immersive than ever before. The science behind the terror. Ever wonder why Godzilla's roar makes the hairs on the back of your neck stand up? Let's get into the science why bit, but don't worry, we'll keep it chill. Low-frequency sounds, also known as infrasound, are below the range of human hearing, but we can still feel them. They create a sense of unease and can even induce anxiety or fear. It's why sometimes you hear a sound in a horror movie that you don't quite notice, but suddenly you feel tense. Animals like tigers and elephants use infrasound to communicate over long distances and even to stun prey. So when Godzilla lets out that roar, it's tapping into our primal instincts. Our bodies perceive it as a threat, triggering that fight or flight response. Pretty wild how a sound can have such an impact, right? It shows just how smart the sound designers were in crafting something that resonates on a deeper level. Godzilla's roar in pop culture. Godzilla's roar isn't just famous in the movies, it's everywhere. It's one of those sounds that, even if you've never seen a Godzilla film, you probably recognize it. It's been used, referenced, and parodied in countless other movies, TV shows, and even songs. Remember that scene in Monsters, Inc., where Mike tries to scare the kid with a big roar? Some say that's a nod to Godzilla. Or how about when bands sample the roar in their tracks to add some epic vibes? Fans around the world have recreated the roar, from YouTubers attempting it themselves, with varying degrees of success, to artists incorporating it into their work. It's become a cultural touchstone, representing not just a giant monster, but an era of filmmaking and a shared global icon. Behind the scenes. Stories and anecdotes. Got some fun tidbits for you. In interviews, some of the original sound engineers mentioned how they spent nights in the studio experimenting with all sorts of objects to get the perfect roar. At one point, they even tried recording animal growls and mixing them, but nothing felt right. One funny story involves a bet where someone suggested recording the squeal of rusty door hinges. They gave it a shot, and while it didn't become Godzilla's roar, it did end up being used for another creature in the film. Talk about resourcefulness. Actors on set would often react to a placeholder roar during filming, sometimes just a crew member shouting, "Roar!" through a megaphone. Imagine trying to look terrified at that. Cultural significance. Godzilla isn't just a monster, he's a symbol. In Japan, Godzilla represents nature's wrath against human arrogance, especially concerning nuclear technology. It's a reminder of the consequences when man meddles with forces beyond control. The roar itself is like the planet's voice, angry, powerful, and impossible to ignore. Festivals celebrating Godzilla are held in Japan, with fans dressing up, screenings of classic films, and yes, plenty of roaring contests. It's a way of honoring not just the character but what he represents culturally and historically. Internationally, Godzilla has crossed over into Western cinema, introducing new audiences to the legacy. The global fanbase has only grown, proving that a giant monster with an earth-shattering roar can bring people together. Technological advances and future directions. With all the tech we have today, imagine where Godzilla's roar can go next. Modern sound design uses digital audio workstations, synthesizers, and can manipulate sounds in ways that were impossible back in the day. Software allows designers to blend real animal noises with synthetic sounds, creating something fresh yet familiar. Looking ahead, future films might experiment with virtual reality and immersive soundscapes. Imagine watching a Godzilla movie where the roar feels like it's surrounding you in 360 degrees. There's also talk about involving fans in the process, maybe holding contests to have their own roars included in the movies. How cool would that be? Getting the community involved would be a fantastic way to keep the legacy alive and evolving. So there you have it, a deep dive into the legendary roar of Godzilla. From its humble beginnings with a leather glove and a contrabass to the high-tech sound design of today, Godzilla's roar has remained a consistent element that defines the character and the franchise. It's more than just a sound, it's an experience that captures the imagination and stirs the soul. As long as stories of giants exist, that mighty roar will continue to echo, reminding us of the awe and wonder that cinema can bring. What do you think? What's your favorite Godzilla roar moment? Drop it in the comments below. Don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe for more epic content, and join me next time as we explore more cinematic legends. Thanks for watching. Special thanks to all the amazing creators who've kept Godzilla's legacy roaring through the years. Huge shout out to you, the viewers, for your support. Couldn't do this without you. Stay tuned after the credits for a sneak peek at our next adventure. Get ready to uncover the hidden messages in kaiju films. You won't believe what's been hiding in plain sight. Coming soon. Thanks again for hanging out with me today. If you loved this deep dive, consider sharing it with a friend. Big thanks to our partners and everyone who contributed to making this video possible. Until next time, keep exploring and stay curious.